hello. I'm out having a walk in my park. I thought I'd say a quick hello. My goodness, I had a busy day yesterday. It was completely bonkers. You may have seen there was some guidance from the EHRC yesterday about employers' legal obligations when it comes to menopause, and I'm really, really pleased that the existing guidance has actually been reiterated, and it's got a bit more profile on the fact that, you know, women are being more supported and they're also going to be potentially protected. But what I discovered through the course of the day was actually the guidance hasn't changed. There's nothing new here. If a woman wanted to make a case for discrimination in the past based on menopause, she would have to do it through disability, and claim that, you know, the symptoms were so bad that it was a disability. And that's where I don't like the current narrative, and I'm sure, you know, some of you will know my thoughts on menopause and how I think we've got overly negative about it. And the headlines, you know, on what we were talking about was, is menopause a disability? And I really don't believe it is. And I think it's interesting when we look at, you know, other sensitive periods in a woman's life, other periods of transition. I mean, you know, we wouldn't consider puberty as a disability, would we? Even if it was terrible, even if, you know, and for some, puberty can be terrible, but even if it's absolutely at its most awful, we would not think that we had to classify it as a disability to get anything to change on it. It doesn't make any sense. Pregnancy is a protected characteristic, and potentially there's a case for making menopause a protected characteristic. That would make it easier for women to make claims. And then I also learned during the course of the day that we can't actually make a claim based on two protected characteristics. I just thought we could, but we can't, which is why I guess we have to go down the disability route. So you can't make a claim for being older and female. And that's the whole point here when it comes to menopause. We are older and we are female. So, well, we identify as female, just don't want to get the hot water there, you know what I mean. We're biologically, we have a uterine system and all of that jazz. So that's why we go through menopause. And so I discovered that we can't do that dual claim on a protected characteristic. So we can't do the same thing as we can with pregnancy. And also the other complicating factor is that we know how long pregnancy is going to be. It might be short, but it's not going to go beyond 10 months. It's just not going to be. Whereas menopause can be, you know, it can be years. You know, the average transition time is at least 5 years. And, you know, for some women, symptoms can go on much longer. So that's a tricky one. And then the EHRC was also saying that menopause-related sick days had to be classified as menopause-related. And that's another difficult area to contend with, because what are you going to put down to menopause and what are you not going to put down to menopause? For example, one of the points I made, so I started the day yesterday being on Times Radio Live with Caroline Noakes, which was rather exciting. Caroline Noakes MP, being interviewed about it. And then I ended my day with a live TV interview on the Vanessa Feltz show. And so you can see the photo from that if you look down my grid. So it was a bonkers day. And the producer for Vanessa Feltz got me on that show because of what I'd said in the morning, but then didn't ask me anything about what I'd said in the morning, so I didn't really understand that. That was a bit weird. But I was on national telly, and the funniest thing is I did it from my mother's back room because I was up looking after my mum, which is what us midlife women do, and which is a source of the stress. So this gets me back to, how are we going to say that leave is related to menopause? Because there's an awful lot of stress in a midlife woman's life that isn't directly related to menopause, but because it's at the same time as menopause, it all makes it worse, you know? So there's empty nest transitions, there's ageism, gendered ageism, there's being in the sandwich generation and having to look after older parents as well as, you know, kids. There's so much going on, and also we are the first cohort of women to go through menopause working in the way that we do. Our mothers didn't go through menopause in the same way. They weren't working in the same way. They didn't have the same stresses. They didn't have social media. They had a couple of world wars, yes, but they didn't have like the constant stress and tension that we have in our world today. So there are so many things, and I see so much on social media where it's just plucking facts and statistics out of the ether, and there's no explanation, there's no nuance, there's no what is the background to this. So even when we're looking at whether menopause is classified as a disability or whether it could be classified as a protected characteristic, it's complicated. It's so complicated. Women are complicated. We're wonderfully complicated. So I thought I'd just come on and have a little chat about that. And so that's really what I wanted to say this morning. And I'm going to have to try and jot all this down so I can write it down into a blog post. But yeah, there is so much else to think about. It's not a simple thing that you can say yes or no, this is good or bad. There is so much else to think about. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me. It's a lovely day here. Right, bye.